What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Joe Culpepper Outdoors. I'm Joe Culpepper, and today we're going to do some cartridge comparisons. So these are all cartridges I have used. Um, every cartridge represented here, I have taken one deer with at least. For my limited experience, this is just my opinions. But maybe this will help some of you guys maybe looking to purchase a new rifle, or you're looking at getting into diving into your cartridge a little bit more. Uh, anyways, disclaimer, I am by no means an expert. This is just my opinions. So I think what I'm going to start with, I've got 6 different calibers here, and I've got them broken into 3 different groups. I'm going to be comparing to which ones really are comparable or more comparable to each other. So the first one we have here is a 243. And 243, this is a 100 grain Remington core locked. 243 is a great cartridge for small game to medium-sized game like deer, antelope. I have only taken deer with it, and I have only taken one deer with it, but I was very impressed with the performance. Now I've heard a lot of people say you can't beat a 243. It kills everything, and it kills every deer that they've ever shot with it. I've heard somebody in particular told me he hunted with a 243 in a Brown & BAR for years and years and years, and killed almost every deer he shot with it. And he said he lost several really good sized bucks, which around here would be 180, 200 pound bucks roughly. So my biggest concern on the 243 would be the bullet sizes. This is only 100 grain. You're going to see as we go up the list, this is the smallest cartridge I have ever really considered taking deer hunting. And even then, I'm not that big a fan of it. It's just too small for what I prefer. And there's better options if you just want a short action, in my opinion. Because this is a .243 caliber bullet. You can get a 308 Winchester, and it's going to perform better on deer because it shoots 150 grain, 180 grain bullet, and it's going to be going a little bit slower, but it's going to have that extra punch when it hits. But this is a great caliber for smaller people, children. And if this is just what you like, and you're always shooting in the heart or in the lungs, then really it's a great round and you can't beat it per se. But for heavier hits, for more energy delivered, I recommend taking a step up, and we do take a little step up here with the 6.5 Creedmoor. 6.5 Creedmoor gets a lot of hate. I'm not the person who's going to stand here and tell you this is the most wonderful cartridge in the world. I have taken more deer with the 6.5 Creedmoor than anything else. I've taken more than with the crossbow. In any other caliber I will be showing today, this has taken more deer. And it's not like I've taken a lot of deer with it, but as far as consistently killing, it's incredible. Now, this is a 129 grain Hornady interlock American whitetail round. If I'm not mistaken, they claim this goes about 2,800 feet per second versus the 243 is 2,950 roughly, we'll say. But it is a heavier bullet, therefore it delivers more energy. Recoil between these two, to me, is pretty much non-existent. You're not going to get any recoil for the two of these, in my opinion. But that is my opinion. I've shot a lot of guns. I've shot a lot of shotguns, especially 12 gauge shotguns. and you go to comparing the kick of a 12 gauge to a 243 or 6.5 Creedmoor, you wind up with neither one of them really has any recoil at all. So if you can handle a little bit more recoil, definitely go with something like the 6.5 Creedmoor over the 243, just because it shoots a bigger bullet. And especially if you're just getting into deer hunting, you're not always going to be making those heart shots. You know, even for me, I very rarely go for a heart shot. I'm usually trying to just be tight to the shoulder, getting a double lung shot. Now I have made several heart shots, and they can be they're very devastating. But if you want to drop a deer every time, I would go with something like a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308, something with a heavier bullet that's going to have more punch when it hits. Especially if you're going to be shooting them in the shoulder or shooting through bone because you want to drop the deer every time. Definitely go with a 308, I would say, over a 6.5 Creedmoor. But both of these, awesome rounds. Out of these two, personally, I'm going to pick the 6.5 Creedmoor, but there's nothing wrong with the 243. Now, both of those, I'd say 243, maybe a good shot could take a deer 300 or 400 yards max. 6.5 Creedmoor, I would say let's stay within 400 yards for sure. I have never shot a deer past 200, but that's actually a great segue into these next two cartridges. So the first one is the very well-known and very celebrated 30-06. This round, there's a reason that this thing is still around today from 1906 when it came out. It shoots a .308 caliber bullet. This is a 150 grain Remington core locked. This is going around 3,000, 3,100 feet per second. It's screaming, and it hits hard with a lot of energy. And the 30-06 cartridge is just awesome. You can do a lot of things with it. You can take a lot of different animals with it. It'll perform ballistically with the right bullets, killing deer 800 to 1,000 yards, depending on what kind of load you're shooting. I would say, really, everybody, let's try to not go past 400 to shoot a deer, because then you're getting on that edge of not having enough power when it hits, and the bullet's slowing down a lot and everything. But the 30-06, nobody can argue that this is a phenomenal round and a phenomenal deer round. And I took my furthest deer, the furthest shot I've ever taken on a deer was with the 30-06, and it was 200 yards. The deer dropped right where it was. It was a square shoulder shot with the core locks. Now, because it was so far and where the bullet hit square in the shoulder, the bullet did not go through. It came very, very close. There was a bulge on the other side of the deer where that bullet had hit, but then it had just fallen apart inside the deer by the time it got that far, having to go through all the bone that it did. But it was devastating. And there's a lot of deer been taken with a 30-06. And you can't really argue with the performance. But what I will be comparing it to is the less known 25-06. Now, if you take a look at these two cartridges here, the casing is the same length. And all the 25-06 is a 30-06, the 308 caliber, neck down to a .257 caliber or 257 caliber, which you've got your 257 Roberts. But the 257s are a very underrated, underused caliber. The problem with it is, in a lot of people's opinions, what I would think the problem is, why would I take a step down to go to a 25 caliber, a 257 caliber, when I could just have a 308 or 30 caliber bullet? Well, there's a few reasons why I would recommend the 25-06 over the 30-06. Now, like I said, the 30-06 is a phenomenal deer round, one of the best ever made, and a lot of people could make the argument it is the best North American hunting cartridge ever made, because you can take anything in North America with the 30-06. Now, 25-06 shoots, this one in particular, I believe, is a Winchester Deer Season XP 117 grain. And I was fortunate to take a deer with this last year. And it was my papa's rifle. And it was a perfect heart shot at very close range. Not what the 25-06 is made for. 25-06 is made for 200-yard, 400-yard shots even. But it was a clean heart shot, and the deer dropped right where it was. And the biggest complaint I do have about the 25-06 is most of the time your bullet hole going in, of course, is going to be about the diameter of the bullet. You know, you're going to have roughly a .308 hole on the 30-06 or a .257 hole with the 25-06. But your exit hole normally will expand, you know, somewhere from this size, some of them will be smaller. The 30-06, of course, I did not get a pass-through on the deer I shot with it, and I've used several rifles between then, so I've only taken one deer with the 30-06, but I've also taken one deer with the 25-06. The bullet hole going in and out was about the same size, but your difference is this 30-06 is going about 2,900 feet per second probably. The 25-06, this load is probably going 3,000 to 3,100 feet per second. I have some Hornady ELDX bullets for the 25-06. They're advertising 3,140 feet per second on the box, which is screaming. But what I believe is causing this bullet not to make as big of an exit hole is it's going so fast. And it was at such a close range, I was not taking advantage, or I was not able in this instance to take advantage of the 200, 400 yard range the 25-06 offers. Now, I will be setting up my 25-06 to make those shots here very shortly. There'll probably be some videos on that if you guys want to stay tuned and watch for that later in the year. But I definitely recommend either one of these. The 30-06, of course, is going to be a little bit easier to find ammunition for. It's more mainstream. But the 25-06 has been around almost just as long, and it's taken a lot of animals too. You can't go wrong with either one of these for deer. Both of them are going to kill deer, and both of them are going to excel at that. So, two more cartridges here. So we've covered our short actions in the 6.5 Creedmoor 243, 400-yard cartridges, 400 yards. Then we took a step up to the 25-06 and 30-06, which you might can stretch out 500 yards on deer. That's what I would recommend, but of course I recommend staying inside of 400, really inside of 200 if you can. But what about in the brush? Because where I am, a lot of your shots are going to be 40, 50 yards or closer, just because of the layout of the land and hunting a lot of swamps. So we're going to start with this one. The 350 Legend straight wall cartridge. I just took a deer with this last weekend, and it was devastating what this bullet did to a deer. It's a straight wall cartridge. It's a very short cartridge, but this is the biggest caliber that I have ever used for deer hunting. This is a 357 caliber bullet, 150 grain Winchester. I believe it's the Deer Season XP. Yeah, the Deer Season XP. Is absolutely brutal what this will do to a deer at close range. And you're not going to get the energy out of this to perform anywhere past 150 yards, 200 maybe. But you would definitely have to have a specific bullet if you wanted this cartridge to perform at 200 yards. But this is a great bullet. It hits like a freight train, and it delivers so much energy and blows such a hole in the deer. Just incredible what this bullet will do. but it's got some competition here because what we're comparing it to is the 30-30 Winchester. Anybody who's ever deer hunted with a 30-30 Winchester, if you've ever taken a deer with this, you know this is arguably the best deer round ever made. Now, this bullet, I believe, came out in 1894, is still around today in 2021. And that is over 100 years, over 120 years of deer killing. And they still have not found a close range round that will outperform the 30-30 to the point where the 30-30 goes extinct. And they never will. In my opinion, what I believe is more deer have been taken with the 30-30 Winchester than any other cartridge on the market today. Biggest competition, really, I believe, would be the 30-06, maybe the 308. But they all have that 308 caliber bullet. Now, this bullet is definitely a close range round. A lot of people will tell you 100 yards with the 30-30. Inside of 100, you can't beat it, but you can't go past 100. I've heard stories now of a feller hunting power lines. Had permission to hunt down this piece of property where the power lines ran through, and he had a 30-30. He said a monster of a buck stepped down at 300 yards. So he aimed above the deer's back, probably about 6 inches above his back, and dropped the buck in his tracks with a 30-30. Now, to me, that's a little bit unbelievable because this round is not made for 300 yards. This round, like I said, a lot of people say keep it inside of 100. I would be willing to stretch that 150, 200 with the right bullets. Now, ballistically, if you hold to the 1,000 foot-pounds of energy is enough to kill a deer, which is what a lot of people recommend, you can get the Hornady Lever Revolution ammunition. I believe it's 100, maybe 160 grain bullet, but it's not a round nose like this. It's more of a design like this. Got the can't even think of what that point is called. Some kind of plastic on the point to force it to open up. But anyways, ballistically speaking, with that specific round, you can, ballistically now, in theory, take deer at 300 yards with a 30-30 Winchester, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me when I found that ammunition and was able to look at the ballistics on it, how it performed. It was just incredible. But now, the big comparison between these two cartridges, I think one of the biggest things you'll find is speed. Now, this is a Winchester deer season. No, this is a PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint. Old box of ammunition from my grandpa before he passed away. And there's a 150 grain bullet. Some say it'll go 2,000 feet per second. I used to shoot the 170 grain core locks, which were advertised at going 1,700 feet per second, 1,760, something like that, which is extremely slow, but it did the job. Every time you need a 30-30 to put down a deer, it will do it. But this is so slow, it is almost, a lot of people consider it to be obsolete just because of the speed. But at close range, it delivers like none other. Now, the 350 starts out, box says 2,200 feet per second, something like that. Not fast either. Both of these are very slow compared. The slowest cartridge I have over here I could compare it to is a 6.5 Creedmoor, which is going over 2,800 feet per second. So even then, you have 600 feet per second difference between this and the slowest cartridge, slowest other cartridge I have on the table, the 6.5 Creedmoor. Or that's the closest comparison. That's above it, I should say. But even then, between these two, how are you going to pick one? They're both very good. Personally, I like the 350. It's very short action. And 308 is, or 3030 is a very short cartridge. Even then, it is shorter than or taller than the 350, longer than the 350, excuse me. So the 350 is an even shorter action, about the same recoil, really. And neither one of these recoil, a lot of people compare it to a 243, which, as I said earlier, no recoil in the 243 that I can notice. I would definitely say, if you're going to pick between the 350 and the 3030, for simplicity's sake, go with the 3030 every time. It's been around a lot longer. I said 1894, I believe. The 350's been out since 2019. Hits like a freight train, but we still don't fully know what it's capable of. It hasn't been around long enough to really know, but availability of ammunition is a lot cheaper for a 3030. The cheapest box of ammunition you used to could find. Now, of course, now we've got an ammo shortage, but it used to be about $16, $17 a box. And it was very, very inexpensive to get a box of 3030. Now, I mean, you get a box of 350 Legend, and it could be $30, $40 for a box of bullets like the Deer Season XPs, a lower quality bullet. You can get that in a 3030, maybe $20 a box. So you're looking at saving $10 to $15 a box on bullets just by going with the 3030. And then, who doesn't like the old lever action guns? You can't beat a Marlin lever action 3030, a Marlin 336. There have been so many deer killed with that. I've done accuracy with it, very, very good shooting guns. Personally, 3030, you can't beat it. So, in conclusion, if we bring all these cartridges here, so we got a domino effect. If we line them all up here, if I can get them lined up, you've got your 243, 6.5 Creedmoor, 3030, 350 Legend, 25-06, and 30-06. Which one is the best? In my opinion, there really is no best. There is no cartridge that rises above the rest as the ultimate deer round, if we want to get into that. Really, if you shoot a deer in the heart, you shoot a deer in the lungs, any one of these is going to kill a deer just as well as the other. He may run a shorter distance if you shoot him with the 30-06 versus the 243, but he's still going to die. It's going to die either way. So if you're talking about long-range shooting, obviously the 6.5 Creedmoor has been hailed as the long-range king recently in the recent years, due to the ability of or due to light recoil and ballistics that are very similar to the 308, which was hailed as a long-range king for many, many years. We're just brush hunting. 3030, you're never going to be able to beat the 3030 Winchester for 100, 150 yards and closer. There's no way you're going to find a bullet that's going to do exactly what the 3030 does for the recoil and the price. It's a phenomenal round. If you want to go old school, go 30-06, and you're going to be taking deer at 400 yards in a good bolt action rifle. If you want to get off the beaten path, use the 25-06. Like I said, it's brutal. It's just incredible what it can do to deer. If you just want to do something new and exciting, get a 350 Legend. There's nothing wrong with any one of these cartridges. Personal favorites, we're not going to get into personal favorites because that's just opinions. I'm just trying to give you guys a unbiased opinion in all reality. Any one of these will kill a deer just as dead as the other will. There's no need to use a 300 Win Mag to hunt deer. If that's how you have to kill a deer, then I'm sorry. You need to stay at home or go and shoot and get accurate. if the only thing you can kill a deer with is a 300 Win Mag or a 300 Remington Ultra Mag, any of those big cartridges, you don't need it to kill a deer. You can kill a deer with a 243. I know some people who kill deer with 223s. I don't recommend that because I think that's very irresponsible to do. The bullet is a lot smaller, but that's a different video for another time. Flip a coin, honestly. Flip a coin between them. But it comes down to what you want, your preferences, your circumstances. Everything goes into picking a cartridge, but you can't go wrong with any of these. One I would like to have up here to compare these two would be, the 270 and the 308 Winchester. And I really would like to have I would like to have, get some experience with some 6mm, the 6mm Remington, 6mm Creedmoor, 7mm, 7mm 08. My dad has one of those. Good shooting rifle. Didn't want to put it in here because I haven't taken a deer with it, and he hasn't taken one with it yet. Just got it a while back. But like to have the 7 Rim Mag up here to compare them to. But like I said, basic deer hunting, any one of these will get you by. So if you guys want to know anything else about any one of these cartridges, if you kind of want me to break down some ballistics and everything for you, I'm not the smartest guy. I don't know that much about ballistics, but I can definitely go through and get some information and get you guys a little bit more acquainted with some of these cartridges if that's what you want. Drop me a comment. Let me know. Let me know if you want to see some rifles or see some shooting with any one of these cartridges. Anyways, until next time, y'all guys stay safe, stay in the outdoors. God bless you.